Y'all, Asians are fighting on TikTok, and I am here for it. I usually try to stay out of other communities' business, but baby, this rabbit hole grabbed me by the ankle and dragged me straight in. And I have learned more in the last 48 hours than entire semesters of world history. And let me be clear, I am not celebrating anybody's conflict. I am just fascinated. I am intrigued. The girls on Asian TikTok are fighting, primarily the Koreans, the Japanese, and the Chinese, and the way they are breaking down history, hierarchy, colonialism, and cultural tension is honestly intriguing. I'm watching as a student, not as a cheerleader, because the explainer videos, the cultural breakdowns, the centuries of tensions and alliances I never knew existed, it's an anthropology course with free tuition. Now, listen, obviously, I'm not Asian, and I'm not pretending to be an expert, and I'm not even inserting myself into anybody's lived experience. I'm just over here learning because when you actually pay attention to how different communities talk about themselves and each other, it helps you to understand what you have seen in the world, including the workplace. And baby, the lights have come on. So this all started with a video from a TikToker about H Mart, which is apparently a Korean supermarket that I never even knew existed. I'm not even going to try to explain the whole H Mart situation here. That's a dissertation, and you can get on TikTok and watch the breakdown videos for yourself if you want to understand how this all started. But the fallout, whew, child. Folks started unpacking colonial history, Japan's imperial past, Korea's trauma, China's influence. I'm sitting here like, whew. So that's why I've seen certain behaviors in corporate America and could never name where they came from. Now, one thing I noticed is that there was little conversation about Southeast Asian history and caste systems. So I am wondering whether or not Asians who are of Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Malay, Vietnamese, Filipino, Singaporean descent consider Southeast Asians to be part of the Asian diaspora, because I did notice that they really didn't come up in these conversations. Somebody tell me in the comments. However, in my experience, they are huge players when it comes to corporate American workplaces, especially in the ways that I've witnessed and experienced anti-Black racism from Asian communities. And another thing, the way all roads seem to lead back to China. And then Japan entering the chat, coming in hot like the British colonizers, had me gagged, because the one thing everybody seems to agree on, their shared historical beef with Japan. I had no idea. And now I have questions for my Asian brothers and sisters on TikTok. Real questions, because now I need to understand the identity politics properly. Do y'all consider Southeast Asians to be Asian the same way Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese are considered Asian? And what about Pakistanis? Because the way some folks are talking, Asia is definitely not a monolith. It's a whole Game of Thrones universe with chapters and sequels. America tends to lump everybody together under Asian, but clearly, internally, people do not see themselves the same. People do not see themselves the same way, and that makes total sense to me. And here's where it connects to the workplace. This is where my HR brain lit up like a Christmas tree. So many of the dynamics Asian TikTok is discussing, white proximity, colorism, caste, assimilation, hierarchy, show up in corporate America every single day. Suddenly I understand who assimilates quickly, who is rewarded for assimilation, who aligns themselves with whiteness as a survival strategy, who imitates whiteness because they think it grants elevation, who distances themselves from Blackness to access power, who weaponizes anti-Blackness even when they're not white. And now that I'm listening to Asian creators explaining the why behind these dynamics, it's clicking. All of it. The other thing that has become crystal clear to me is that Black Americans really are the least white proximity seeking group in terms of minority groups in the United States of America. And it makes total sense to me that that would be the case. Black Americans have the most intimate familiarity with white people, especially white Americans. Black Americans grew up with them. Black Americans fought them for their freedom. Black Americans survived them and continue to survive them. Black Americans understand whiteness in a way other groups do not, because familiarity breeds contempt. It also breeds clarity. African immigrants don't fully get it. Caribbean immigrants don't fully get it. Asian immigrants definitely don't get it. Black Americans, they've been reading whiteness like a weather report for 400 years. They know exactly what it is and how it moves. That is why so few of them are active white proximity seekers. Child, Asian TikTok even gave me some new vocabulary. Pick Miko, Uncle Tam, not to be confused with Uncle Tom. I am hollering over here, but I also took notes because wow, the parallels. Every group has people who align themselves with power at the expense of the rest of the group. Because the workplace is not neutral, it is not culture free, everybody brings a history of their people with them to it. When you understand how hierarchy works in their culture, how whiteness is perceived, how assimilation is rewarded, how anti-Blackness is taught globally, you understand people's workplace behavior on a deeper level. Asian TikTok didn't just teach me about Asia. It taught me about us too. So yeah, I'm going to be staying in Asian folks' business on TikTok for a little bit longer. Respectfully, quietly, from the sidelines, because this is a whole sociology, anthropology, and workplace behavior course rolled into one. If y'all want a part 2 where I get into the specific workplace parallels and the behaviors I now understand better, let me know. I got notes. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button, comment but do so constructively, subscribe, and don't forget to follow me across social media and do subscribe to my website so you always know what I'm up to. I'm Anne Marie. This is the Anti-HR. Thanks for watching. Bye.